Hello, everybody. So today, in today's interview, we have a special person for me that she had been my relationships coach that healed me mainly from a very difficult childhood trauma. And I present to you Antoinette, who is actually a talented relationships coach and specializes, of course, on people that they had childhood trauma, and of course how to cure it, how to recover from the trauma, and additionally to start building the foundation of fulfilling and meaningful relationships. Please, Antoinette.
Hi, thank you for having me on here, Christos. It's a pleasure to speak.
So, would you like to tell us a little bit about your background, about your bio?
Yeah, sure. So I come from um, history with a lot of abuse and neglect and a lot of trauma. In my childhood, and I experienced things as a child that no child should ever experience.
Mhm,
And that created a lot of limiting beliefs in myself and a lot of negative thinking and thought patterns and behavioral patterns and led me to make quite a lot of unhealthy choices. And so in my teen years, I found myself trying to just escape life and the pain that was life in anything I could. So relationships, alcohol, drugs, um, many things I sort of dabbled in and I was searching for something that would fill that void. I was searching for something that would make me feel whole and not hurt.
mhm,
And yeah, I just seemed to kind of look in every area, and that led me down a bit of a path. So I ended up getting diagnosed with severe anxiety and depression, borderline manic depressive disorder,
mhm,
also known as bipolar. And I was put on heavy dosage of medication for about 5 years. And I just found that everything I was doing to try and help was just treating the symptoms.
mhm,
Nothing actually really got to the root of it and actually healed what was going on.
mhm,
And so my faith is a huge part of who I am. I'm a follower and believer of Jesus, and I met him when I was 16. And
mhm,
that was really sort of the catalyst that just turned my life around and started me on this healing journey that I've been on for um, 16, 17 years now. And so I I'm a kind of person that if I can't find something that works, I'll find a way or I'll make something that works. So with a lot of help from other people, learning, studying, and just finding things that worked for me, I managed to find ways that could actually get to the root of healing that trauma
mhm,
and actually releasing that trauma from me. And yeah, I've been completely free now. I was just talking about this with someone else a couple of days ago, actually, been completely free from any anxiety, depression for I think it's well over 15 years now, which
mhm,
is very exciting. And yeah, I just, of course, I have moments where I feel anxious, moments where I feel like low or depressed,
mhm,
but in terms of that diagnosis, that's not me anymore. And I think I had accepted that label for so long that I just accepted that was going to be me for the rest of my life. And I just had to learn to manage it. And
mhm.
what I discovered is actually you don't.
Yeah.
Because if you heal the trauma, if you heal the root, you can actually be free from it. So now I have the privilege of working with people to help them get to the root and heal the trauma. And it's the biggest blessing when people experience that healing and that freedom and just released from the chains of trauma.
Yes, that is very profound, and we can say to the audience that audience many times thinks about business terms that we are making 1K per month and we want to go to 10K per month. So they think we understand that us in the business we need to do some things. The same is with the childhood trauma that actually most of us we have. Okay, we all have a programming that is working like that. Maybe not all of us domestic abuse, not of all of us many bad things, but all of us we have some sort of bad programming that we can say that is addressed like trauma. So for you, Antoinette, when you were in the point one, point A, that it was this chaos in your life many years ago. So you are, let's say, in the point LM, okay, because we are always going forward. So all of this route path from A, let's say, to KLM, to some point that you are now, of course, included many things like education, like healing, like therapy, like books, like practicing even. Could you please tell us more about this journey?
Yeah, so I've seen a number of therapists. Some have been good, very few, unfortunately, have
Mm-hmm,
been very good and I found helpful,
mm-hmm,
and others not so much. I think it just wasn't suited for me.
mm-hmm,
And because I like studying a lot, I like learning and reading, and I like to understand why things are happening. So
mm-hmm,
I knew from an early age that, you know, I knew the reason why I was in such a bad place. I
mm-hmm,
just didn't know how to heal it. And
mm-hmm,
what I found was what anyone that was trying to help me was doing was the way I describe it with my clients is it's like changing that plaster, and it's
mm-hmm.
like, you know, putting a clean dressing on the wound, a clean
Yeah,
plaster on the wound,
yeah,
band-aid. Um, but it doesn't actually heal the wound and it doesn't actually clean the wound out.
yeah,
And so what I've always had heart to do is find a way of getting to the root and actually cleaning out the wound so that you no longer need that dressing.
yeah.
So that's yeah, that's so techniques and tools that I use with my clients. Some of them I've learned and adapted, some of them I've created myself, um, with things that I know has worked for me. And so yeah,
Yes,
it's
we can say many times that people are not finding the cure with therapy or with coaching, but as with business, when we are taking education, let's say from the coach or some course, or in the same manner, like we have a therapist or a coach, or we are trying by ourselves, always is credible and good to add education because many therapists and many coaches they are not offering such education. And what means education means to know how the mind is operating, the conscious, the unconscious, the subconscious, and even to jump to the superconscious that is like the final state of the mind. So yes, we can say that as you mentioned, that education, books, courses, seminars, workshops, masterminds, they are very critical, but can you tell us more about your experiences when it came to daily emotional trainers, as we can say? Because when I have a person that I am like, you are a person that you are interacting, this is an emotional trainer. When like the toothbrush is falling down and we are maybe try to feel furious, it's like emotional training. So actually, this is the experience and the application of what we learn. Could you please tell us more about this for your life and also for your clients?
yeah, I mean, there's many different tools and techniques that I use. It's very bespoke,
Mm-hmm,
depending on what the client needs and what they want.
mm-hmm,
But one thing I've found is they have to be ready. So there's people, my coach told me this, and I love this, and I use this a lot now, is there's people who um want to get better, and there's people who want to get better.
it's true.
And it's very hard to work with people that want to, because if they're
Mm-hmm,
not ready, if they don't want to yet, there's no amount of coaching or tools and techniques that would
mm-hmm,
actually really help them. They have to be in that place of that self-awareness of seeing that they actually need the help, and seeing the pattern and the dysfunctional behavioral pattern and the unhealthy choices
mm-hmm.
that the trauma is causing. So yeah, there's so many different types of techniques, that I use and that I've used on myself.
Yes, we can say that it's true because we can say that if the ladder has 10 steps and the ladder means you go from a point to point A that you are that some person is damaged emotionally, mentally, physically, and whatever, and this is the point A, and the point Z is when he's healed. That means that we have to take the steps, okay? And the steps are always we need to be ready for the next step and not for 5 steps above. And this is some things that I see many times. in groups that I see people that they broke up, and probably you faced also people that they are in the very early stage of working, that we see all of us that they are blaming their ex, they blaming the people, they blame the government, they blame everyone. And additionally, this is probably might the starting point, right? We can say for your clients, probably is the starting point, right? The most of the people.
Yeah, that's the victim mindset that
Yeah,
they have, and that's a very hard one to break if the person isn't willing to look inwards.
yeah.
Because what I say to people a lot is, we cannot change our circumstances. We cannot
Mhm,
change things that have happened to us, and we cannot change things that we've already chosen to do in the past that may not be the best of
mhm,
choice. But what we can do is decide how we're going to allow it to define us. We can decide how we're going to respond to those circumstances.
yeah.
So, for a situation, I get this a lot where a situation comes where, I've got a whole list of people that they tell me has hurt them.
Mhm,
Okay, but this isn't actually about those people. This is
mhm,
actually about you and how you are dealing with it and
yeah.
how you are allowing people can only hurt us if we give them power to hurt
Mhm,
us. So
mhm,
the moment we take that power back,
mhm.
it takes away their ability to hurt us. And it can actually strengthen us and help us to become the best version of ourselves.
Yeah. As you mentioned, we need to want it, right?
Yeah.
And if we don't want it, we are capable always to have it, but
Yeah.
somehow these people always we need to drop the ego because we know that this is the conditioning. Okay, this is not something, but this is the conditioning, and this is our programming from the childhood, from the first second that we just we got born. Okay, so yes, this is about commitment, and as you probably noticed in the marketing for coaching clients, this is not this is not so much working when we as people because are approaching people that we think that they have problem trauma, they won't help. Somehow we need to trigger them with content, with various things, so as they will be committed, right? Because when we come to them, this is like fight or flight, okay? So these people are not committed still, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, people have to want to take that step themselves.
Yeah.
And in terms of a business, one thing I found is when not charging clients, because I used to do a lot of pro bono work.
Mm-hmm,
And what I found with that is people don't really value it.
mm-hmm,
Not everyone, but people don't value it as much, and people don't actually really do the work. And it's
mm-hmm.
when they value something that we actually put money to it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's when we're going to put everything into it. And that's where we're going to see the results. And I've seen the difference now with clients that I have that pay, because it's not about the money. It's
Mm-hmm.
about how much you value something and how much you really want something. And the results that they get are phenomenal. It's amazing.
Yes, this is truth, actually. Always me, you, everyone, we have received uh, free cheat sheets, free everything. And this is also applying to the people that they need like some help. How it will be if a person will go to some like therapist or some psychiatrist or whatever, and it will be free, especially when it comes to consultations and Zoom consultations anyhow, coaching, for example. Yes, as you said, people need to value it. People need to be committed. So this is the message that we want to put outside is that anyhow, whatever situation they are, either good, either bad, they just need to understand within them some force that they need one thing to change, right?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, my tagline in all my posts are healthy people make healthy choices.
Yeah.
And that comes from, if we want to make healthy choices in life, then and we want a healthy outcome, then
Mhm.
we need to be healthy ourselves, and that's body, soul, and spirit. So it's emotional, mental, physical. It's a whole package deal.
And Antoinette, how do you embody the spiritual and let we say from Jesus, as we can say, spiritual practice, how do you embody into the coaching session that is related to the relationship resolution? So how do you embody the spiritual side?
So if the client comes to me and they are a believer and they follow the faith, then I ask them if they would like faith-based coaching or if they would just like normal coaching.
Yeah.
If they would like faith-based coaching, then I tweak my program to
Mm-hmm.
incorporate in the faith and the beliefs and practices. And so when we do a lot of the inner healing work,
Mm-hmm.
we incorporate in the faith into that as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then so if a client doesn't have that, then there's other ways of doing that. So
Yes.
it's really up to the client how much the client wants the faith involved. So
Yes, this is great because this is adapting to the person that we have, and not saying that within our limit, let's say within 90 days to help this person. We don't know, because the same as psychologist, even you go to psychologist not saying to you so as to heal you from a breakup or from a childhood trauma. They don't tell you that you need 90 days. They tell you, come, we will be together. The same is with coaching. So yes, this is coming the adaptive side of your coaching, that we say that we have a limit, but we are working until uh, a certain time that we want to see the results, because we are responsible for the results, right?
yeah, because so my program generally is 3 months, is 12
Mm-hmm.
weeks, but I've had a client recently re-signed for another 3 months. The transformation that they've seen in those 3 months is
Mm-hmm.
amazing, but they don't want it to stop there. They want more.
Yeah.
So they've actually re-signed for another 3 months, and we're now going much deeper levels. So there's always more. There's always, even myself, as excuse me, as the coach and the one that's kind of dealing with the trauma healing, there's always deeper levels that I can grow and learn
Mm-hmm.
and heal in my journey. So I think it shows a lot of humility as well when someone can have that attitude and say, actually, there's been a lot of transformation here, but I want more.
Yeah.
And I think that's beautiful.
So we can say that this is part of your why, right? This is your
Yeah.
soul's purpose. So because you probably had this experience like orchestrated to be like so, so you had the bad experiences, the abuse and so on, and you learned from them. You, as we say, signed a contract with the universe that you had to pass from all of this adversity, so that you become a winner, that you will face anything, that you will grow, that you will shine, so that you will help other people recover, awaken, and shine. Is that right, Antoinette?
100%. Yeah. And
100%.
one thing is important is, especially with things like complex PTSD and things, is there is such a voice out there nowadays that just tells you that you have to learn to manage living with it. And I'm living proof that you don't.
Yeah.
I'm someone that had complex PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
I no longer have a single bit of it now.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm living proof you can be completely free from it, but it
Mm-hmm.
takes time and it takes doing the work.
Mm-hmm. So
And
this
so
is
that's
actually the best guarantee, because we can say guarantee that we have clients that did this, but I suppose the best guarantee for your clients, for your prospects, when they speak with you, interact with you, is always your results, your experience, what you did for your own self. And because you did it, you were there, you suffered, and you persist on this adversity, and finally you managed to be the person that you had to be. Of course, you grow more. So yes, this is actually the best, as we call it, testimonial, the testimony of your life, right?
yeah,
What
absolutely.
a special testimony, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's my story, is the reason I do what I do.
Yeah. So if we want to wrap up this beautiful interview and conversation with you, Antoinette, if, let's say, there are people outside, of course they are, that they just had a lot of, we can call, abuse of every side, and they had a difficult childhood, and these people want really, the committed people, to find their way, because also they can be like your example that they suffered, and might somehow they will need to learn to heal and to go outside to shine other people. What you will say to these people that firstly they are not committed still, and the other people that they are also committed right now?
So I'd say if they weren't committed, I'd say do the work, like look inwards, have that self-awareness and that humility to look inwards and be honest with the things that you're believing and the dysfunctional behavioral patterns that are in your life, and do the work to heal, because then you can lead other people into freedom. And so that leads then into people that are committed. Is, you know, once you do the work, once you actually heal, you're then in a healthy place to make other people, to help other people. I started wanting to help other people years and years ago. And I helped a lot of teenagers on the side. But one of the things I realized is I am so grateful that it's now that I've actually started this coaching business, because I see a lot of people in the industry that still need the healing themselves and still need to do a bit of work themselves before they actually help other people. And you know, I think we're all on a journey, so there's always going to be things that we can work on in our own lives, myself included. You know, there's always things I'm working on and growing on and healing and all stuff that sort of never ends. But I think it's having that congruency to be real with where we're at, and then to be able to walk other people into that healing and freedom, because we can't walk someone into a place that we've not been to before. So yeah, I think congruency is so important in this work. And your clients feel it. Like, your clients know if you're being congruent or not. Your clients know, you know, if you are just talking the talk or if you're walking the walk.
So for you, that you of course feel committed or not feel committed, but you found value in this conversation, and you have a glimpse inside, or a nudge inside your mind, that you want to do something, the work. And if you were victims of child abuse, you can find the Facebook profile of Antoinette in the comment section below on the YouTube link, so that you can always friend her or check her posts and discuss with her and see how Antoinette can help you, so that you heal your childhood trauma. And of course, as you see, the dear Antoinette, she is shining, so you can shine too. As she shines, as your client shines, you can shine too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I have a masterclass coming up on the 15th of January as well, which is completely free if people would like to join.
This is fantastic. So don't miss the chance. Antoinette is ready for you, and just message her or make her a friend request, and you will be there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much for having me on here, Christos.
It was my pleasure, Antoinette. So we are finishing today, and we are wishing you a great continuation of the day. Bye bye.